Coming to you live is the AutoHub show, changing automotive one show at a time with Ian and Jeff. And here we go.
Who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Hi, I'm Gail Rubenstein, the founder and CEO of a company called Retail Resilient, social selling for the car industry. And we help auto dealers, auto agencies, and vendors in the auto industry sell more cars, service more cars, and make more money using our social selling strategy. That includes TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and anything else you can think of. So if you're looking to invest thousands and make millions, we're definitely the social selling company for you. Like I said, who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
If you run a service drive, you know these days first impressions matter. But when your advisors are tied up with inbound phone calls, they tend to neglect their other, more important duties. And did you know 75% of all service calls are frequently asked questions in routine requests? Still, the average dealer misses up to 30% of inbound calls, adding up to a ton of missed service opportunity and increased customer churn. 68% of callers actually go elsewhere if they can't get through, which means you could be losing $60,000 to $70,000 every month in service revenue simply from missing calls. So who will pick up? Introducing Brooke.
Hi there.
Your best service scheduling assistant. Brooke is the first intelligent digital voice assistant to answer, handle, and appoint all of your inbound service calls. And talking to Brooke is like talking to a friend with human-level understanding in a friendly conversational voice. Her conversational intelligence is built on millions of actual service industry conversations. Book with Brooke today. Visit Brooke.ai or call 866-942-1236. Finally, the perfect match.
Our goals are always to improve. Every month we want to improve better on what we did the month before, maybe the year before. It's about how fast we can get the cars done with quality work to get it to the front line, because that's where we make our money. And the bottom line is the longer it takes, the more money you spend. We want to get it down as low as possible. Right now, like I said, we're in a great stage. We're at 4.5 days. In recon, we want to know how quickly we can get the cars out of the recon process and to the front line. The average days in recon and then the time to line are the most important things that we look for. I'm Mike Burrell. I'm Service Director at JM Lexus.
Larry Feldman is probably the most amazing trainer that I've ever experienced in this business. I've been in the car business now for 35 years, and I've seen quite a few trainers. A lot of them are pretty good. I mean, really, I get something out of all of them that I've seen, really. But Larry is in another class. I really mean that. His training is literally riveting. A little while back, I sat in on his first training that I ever sat in on. It was for new hires. I still remember. I'll never forget it. About 25 people in the room who'd never sold cars before. And after 2 hours, I raised my hand and Larry stopped what he's doing and said, yes. And I said, maybe we should take a break. And literally, I'll never forget it. All 25 people turned around, looked at me and went, we're okay. And he kept going for another 2 hours. Since then, I've seen a few other of his trainings. I've hired people out of his classes. All I can say is, you got to give him a try.
And good morning, and now Jeff with the disclaimer, please.
Well, before the disclaimer, Ian, we got to talk about cutting off the music so quickly. I really like that. I just started to get into the dancing of our intro music.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. So the disclaimer of our show, welcome to the AutoHub show here on the final day of Used Car Week 2022. And our disclaimer is the views and opinions shared in this show are those of our guests and not necessarily that of the AutoHub show, Ian Nethercott or Jeff Polo.
Thanks very much. So go ahead with the intros.
Well, today we have with us Marlon Brando's family from Stella. Yes, I said I wouldn't, but no, actually Stella. I did say I do. So joining us, we have Ron Smith And oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I knew you were going to do that.
I knew it. I knew
I
it.
was like, oh, how is he going to recover?
Why don't
Kate
you-
Haggerty. I'm Kate Haggerty from Stella Automotive.
Well, seeing as how you've got the mic, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit more about you and the company, or the company and you.
Yeah, so I'm an enterprise director of logistics, which is a big title for a crazy position. And we are conversational telephonic AI.
Oh, golly gee willishers. Conversational telephonic. I have now used a new word. My favorite word before was algorithm, but conversational telephonic's very good. Ron, would you mind introducing yourself too?
Yep, I'm enterprise director of sales for Stella Automotive, selling telephonic AI.
Very
All
cool.
right.
And
So you don't have like a longer title?
You know, we can flip it around. I can add all the other industry parts in on OEM partnerships, industry partners. You know, we can go all the way down the path, but basically we just do a little bit of everything. We do a little bit of marketing. We're just working our tails off, getting Stella off the ground.
awesome. Now the question I have: do you have an enterprise director of the bridge?
Ooh, you know what? We're actually recruiting here in San Diego for that particular gig.
Ian, please take it.
Yeah, so obviously we hear a lot of talk in the media around AI. And actually, there was an interesting event this morning where we talked about the future of automotive, but they also had a gentleman on from the Darth Vader company, Carvana, remotely because he couldn't be here in person, by the way. Probably just, I don't know.
He was a little
for
scared.
whatever reason.
Chicken.
But there's lots of talk about technology and data, but more importantly, on the staffing front, it's hard to find good people, more importantly, train them. And AI, I know there's kind of it's kind of like this mystery area. So what questions do you get about AI that, I guess don't stump you, but maybe confuse people about AI versus a person, for example?
You gonna take it?
I want you to take it because she's so good at discussing this and she's a student of it right now, you know? So go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that the biggest thing when we hear AI is, oh, we've been using that for so long, right? And we've had the experiences of AI, right, where you call into a phone and it's press 1 for service, or you could say service, press 2 for, right?
Press 1 if you'd like to be ignored by service. Press 2 if you'd
Absolutely.
like to be ignored by sales.
Thank you for
Yes.
having a world-class experience at our dealership.
We care about you.
Get with you in 7 minutes.
Give me your money.
The wait time was only 35 minutes.
Exactly. And so there's this big misconception, right? And I think that AI is a term that gets thrown out, and it might mean machine learning. It might mean actual Watson AI, right? Watson's the one that I think he can do like crazy computations and kind of things for himself.
$97 billion computer.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, just a small amount, just some chump change there. And so with Stella, we're along the lines of Watson. She's constantly learning. We're putting information back into her, and then she's able to make new decisions off of that information.
Yeah, she listens with intent. You know, so when you decide to call her and you have questions, she'll answer any question that you have. She actually becomes some people's best friends when they do the survey at the end of the call.
You know, as I mentioned to you, Ron, when we chatted the other day, this just reminds me of Big Bang Theory when Raj was talking to Siri, and he actually finds Siri sitting in a room, and she calls him, "Hello, sexy," and he falls in love with her. So
Yeah.
that's getting a little creepy, but
Well, it is, and our clients are falling in love too, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that they're doing. Number one, helping the consumer experience out, right? So the consumers aren't waiting any longer to be able to get it handled. She's also answering 24/7, right? So she never catches COVID. She's not an HR nightmare. You know,
Yes.
so it's a big thing to be able to have right then and there. And then, you know, when we take a dealership and we start booking their appointments for her, right, it also gets them an opportunity to really focus in on lowering their, their SG&A and their operational costs.
yeah. Oh, for
And
sure.
so we've seen a lot of cases where they're dropping 20% of their expenses going out from them not having to hire employees to do these particular jobs. They're typically rudimentary, right? We don't want to replace the employee, but we want to take as much off their plate as possible so they can focus on the better tasks in the dealership because there's plenty of jobs to do.
So what's the story in terms of, I know AI is a technology, but what's the story as to why Stella.ai was created and sort of, I guess what's the journey so far?
Oh man, well, we have an absolute tiger of a founder. Her name is
Tiger.
Jocelyn.
Not
you
Stella.
know?
Not Stella.
Her name is not Stella. No,
Not Stella.
no. Stella.
Shout
Stella's
out
our
to Jocelyn.
coworker.
Stella's our
Okay.
coworker, right? And she could be your dealership's coworker as well, right?
Yes.
Well, Jocelyn actually was at NADA of 2020, right before COVID had hit. We were all in Vegas.
Yeah,
And
I was as well.
She was walking around the show with her phone, just playing this demo that she had from one of our other companies that we are partners with in,
Okay.
a Fortune 100 company, and they were like, "Can you put this into automotive?" Right? And so that began the path to becoming Stella Automotive. And so we've built it, went and released it in NADA right now. And so what we're doing now is bringing it to the market. Service receptionist, you have a little bit to add on there?
We released it of NADA this year.
Oh,
2022.
Well, you know, I have to say, timing couldn't be better because staffing is a problem. Although I do hear there's a whole bunch of people from some company that has a bird logo that are looking for work and a whole bunch of other. But the automotive's beneath them. We know that.
Did a little bird tell you that?
yeah.
A big bird. But
Yeah.
it's perfect because the experience is not good at the moment because, you know, press 1 for sales, 2 for this, 3 for that, 4 like, I'm really sorry, we can't get to you right now, but we're trying. And I honestly believe everybody cares.
Yeah, so there's a storm that's kind of brewing, right? So we have the great resignation that happened during COVID, and I was talking with a dealer yesterday, and he's like, "We can't have people working from home. We need them on the lot, right?
Yep.
And that's where they sell cars." And I think dealers have an opportunity to get creative about that on how to retain employees. But with it, so there's this, and there's in the service industry, and you know, everyone has as much patience with any service industry and treat everybody with respect in a service industry.
So,
No, not
so-
even close, right?
Right. Yeah. So, like, I mean, obviously, there's a fear when you look at things like kiosks, for example, and other things where, you know, we're replacing people. I mean, a buddy of mine worked for a company called Pegasystems that does some of this stuff. I'm not sure what, but so obviously, a staff, even the best staff, can't work 24/7, 365.
Exactly.
But more importantly, they probably don't follow process 100% of the time. So I guess the question would be, what can't Stella do?
What can't Stella do, right? Stella can't, when you walk into a dealership and, you know, you need to get your upsold on all of your solutions, right? When the advisor's trying to work that, Stella's not going to be able to do that, right? It still requires a human being to get another human being to be convinced to spend more money, right? For their options that they're going to be able to have, right? Those are the things that Stella's not going to do. That's why the employee is not going to be replaceable in the dealership for what Stella does do, right? But what Stella does do is she does take off the very easiest things off your plate, right? We've got stores booking. She's booking over 30% of their appointments total right now.
Does Stella have a variable operations side to her?
Variable is coming.
Dum, dum, dum,
Dun,
dum.
dun, dun.
Well, you know, because we've had quite a few people on our show here at Used Car Week as well, and the big comment is response to e-leads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you hear anywhere from 30 to 70% of e-leads are not being responded to. Like not even auto responded to because the autoresponders don't have the capability.
Yeah, and so we started at that in the service industry, and that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Right. That's absolutely where we're going.
I would love to see that. You know, hi, this is Stella calling from XYZ Motors. You've inquired on our 2022 Kia EV6, and great news, we have one.
Or better yet, you call her and just say, "Hey, Stella, what's that car on the lot? Do you still have it?"
It's cosmic blue
Exactly.
with Manhattan black interior, and it has the limited auto drive system that, unlike others, we don't cancel if you sell it. Mind you, I'm sure Stella sounds way better than me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what kind of requests do you get from dealers? Obviously, every dealer that I've talked to anyways, it feels that their product is different, their customers are different, their process is different.
They're different.
You know, maybe the owner's different, I don't know, different cat. You know, how customizable is Stella to that, you know, dealership, dealer group, massive conglomerate? We were talking about Lithia this morning and how they're going to probably outpace AutoNation. But anyway, You know,
yeah.
what's your thoughts there?
So what makes Stella so cool with us is right, we own our own technology because so that makes us an enterprise scalable solution,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So because of that, she's customizable to whatever the dealer ends up wanting to do with that particular,
Right.
request, right? If it becomes a CSI issue and they have to be able to request the opportunity for a consumer to get pickup or drop off of their vehicle, we can build that for Stella, right?
Right.
We can do all of those things, right? If they want to be able to offer service specials, right? So every time that they say, hi, I'd like to book an oil change, right? Maybe we're going to upsell them for a tire rotation and a cabin air filter. And she can offer that right out the gate because what she does is she books it right into their scheduler, right? With the capacity management they've already got. So it's like when you're a dealer, the world is your oyster with Stella, right? Let's build her however you want her to be built. And it's all customizable to each store's DNA because believe it or not, we can go to 100 different Nissan stores, and every single Nissan store is going to have different op codes,
Right.
right?
Sure.
Different setups. So when our team, our engineers, we've got 37 PhDs that specialize in AI. When they build these out, we're building them uniquely to your dealership's DNA.
So does that brings up another question. Thanks for that. Obviously, tools like Dealer FX or Xtime or others, and obviously your CRM and DMS that they're working with, whether it be Reynolds, CDK, PBS, Techion, you name it. Does Stella integrate with that, or is that something that where someone would have to do manual entry, for
No,
example?
we're on it, right? We're in Xtime stores now. We're in CDK. We've got our dealer FX clients launching right now. My father's dealer group is a Reynolds dealer, so they call me every day asking when we're going live, right?
Right.
We just went ahead and moved it forward on that partnership with those companies. So
Right.
we're in, and we're actively pursuing as many as there are because there's a lot of great solutions out there for particular clients, right? So we're in all of them.
So what are dealer partners saying, but more importantly, what are customers saying about Stella?
Oh, you could take that one.
So I was sitting in Philly with some family members, not part of the automotive industry, right? And they're like, "What are you doing now? You're a director of
You're in the
what?
car business?
You're in the car
Ew.
business?
Yeah.
Are you selling cars?" Right? And I pulled her out and I showed them, and we can't replace human. There's something about having someone answer the phone every time in a happy voice, no negative inflections.
Yeah, good afternoon, XYZ Motors.
Right. Or,
How can I help you
the
today?
one of, I really need to book a service appointment. Okay, how can I help you? Have you serviced your vehicle here before? No, I'm a new customer. Oh. Right?
Or push one for
I-
new customers.
I
push
can't
two
help
for
you.
Existing customers.
Absolutely, yeah. And so we played it. I played it for her, or I did the demo for them, and they were like, that is amazing. She picks up on the first ring. She's happy. And I got what I needed. I have an appointment. I'm good. And they said, the best thing is definitely speaking with that cheerful human that's going to be the same every single time. But this is second best.
I just want to address your comment about an appointment. How does Stella handle the only opening that shows up is 6 weeks from today?
Yes, so that is something that we're seeing a lot of, right? So
Yeah.
so what we end up seeing on the Stella side is that the probability of booking, if we're booking weeks out, they're going to still ask for that service advisor. They're going to say, I need to speak with a representative. And we had one, we listen to these calls all the time, and we had one the other day that happened. And, the the representative picked up and said, how can I help you? And she said, well, it says that you're booking 4 weeks out. And is that true? And he said, yep, Stella was right. Let me see if there's a list of cancellations.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean, when you look at some of the recall programs or even some brands, not only do they not have technicians or space. I mean, I was at a dealership I was telling you the other day that has collector cars, the owner's collection in service bays because they have not only bays but no staff, which was kind of
Yeah.
interesting. But from a recall perspective, from a parts perspective, I mean, even had people calling me asking me where they can get Volkswagen recall parts. And I'm like, I don't know, Volkswagen dealer? I don't know. So, that's a part of a challenge. But also, I guess the other question would be if you had to do, say, let's say schedule multiple appointments because of that. So maybe I could do an oil change on Wednesday, but I can't do that recall part for 3 weeks because I can't get the part. Or in my case, oh yeah, we don't have it, even though we told you we would. We'll get back to you, and then they never hear from them. So those kind of things where it's a little more complicated. Is that something Stella can handle?
So that we still want a human touch on,
Okay.
right? So, but we want to remove the stuff that she can handle, those simpler appointments where it's an oil change, maintenance, even a diag, anything that's going to hit the capacities. But when it's recalls, there's a lot of moving parts for recalls, parts specifically, right? And she's not quite there yet where she can go and say, okay, do we have the parts on hand? So with that, we want to avoid setting that expectation and saying you can come in
no
2
problem
weeks.
at all. We have those airbags in stock right now.
Right, right. So we definitely still want to have a service representative handle those, but we want to make sure that they can handle those and alleviate that 30% of the appointments coming in.
Rock and roll. And then if a dealer wants to be, or dealer group, or someone else wanted to see a demo of Stella, how do they do that?
I mean, that's pretty easy. I mean, I guess we can go ahead and just show you a demo of it real quick if you got,
2 minutes.
Less than 2 minutes.
I don't know. We might only have 1.836 minutes.
Okay,
Sure.
I think we could probably make that happen.
That'd be
Why
outstanding.
don't we just do this, because that's what happens all the time. I end up finding myself demoing Stella anywhere and everywhere that I go.
Anywhere, anytime.
Right?
Yeah.
So, well, let's go ahead and call her right now.
Yeah, no worries. Hold on while we wait.
Thank you for calling the Bach Toyota Service Scheduling Center. This call may be recorded for quality assurance.
Wow.
I'm your digital assistant, Stella. I can book, change, or cancel appointments. How can I help you today?
I need to book an oil change for my 2020 Camry on Tuesday at 3 o'clock.
So this is called front loading.
Okay. Could you please
Ron just
state the
front-loaded her.
approximate mileage of your vehicle?
27,000.
Thank you. Before we proceed, do you require any other services for your vehicle?
Yeah, my brakes are squeaking a little bit.
Okay, let's book your appointment. Will you be dropping off your vehicle?
Yes.
Please wait while I check our schedule. I have an appointment available for Tuesday, November 22nd at 3 p.m. for drop-off. Would that be okay for you?
Yes.
Would you like to confirm your appointment?
Yes.
I have successfully scheduled your
What's the
appointment
time on
for
that?
Tuesday, November 22nd at 3 p.m. to
Let's give
drop
it a
off your
survey,
vehicle.
right?
To help improve our service, we would like to get your feedback. How would you rate this call on a scale of 1 to 10?
10.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about this call?
The AutoHub show is the best.
Yes, remember that.
Thank you for calling and for your feedback. Goodbye.
Survey in all, minute and 40 seconds.
That's
impressive.
outstanding.
right.
And she picks up in the first ring.
She picks up on the first ring every single time. And in fact, this particular client that we have right here, their rating from Stella, the average rating from the client is 8.2 that a consumer gets when they rate that survey.
And when you consider that people really like to do low, they really like to find a way to complain to get something. Now I'm going to ask you a question here because you all, I love saying that down here. We're Canadian, but how does Stella handle with different accents, different backgrounds, English as second language, etc.?
Oh, this is perfect because I'm from the South, so we say y'all.
No, I didn't know
y'all
that.
over here now.
No.
Our team is brilliant that builds this solution, and they're looking at every single call that comes in, and every time that the call comes in, it's a different dialect. Right, we're tracking that, and we're building that solution further down that path. So if you're a Cajun down in New Orleans, Nolans, we're going to pick up on that language right there, right? And if you're down in the Southern California market, a big Hispanic market, we're going to pick up on that language as well.
What about surfers, dude?
Surfers, dude, they're all over the place, right? We got them all. So it's one of the coolest things. She picks up on all the dialect. And here's the cool thing about Stella, right? We talked about her natural language understanding, right? She listens with intent. So if there is a time that she can't actually pick up what you're saying on there, she's going to transfer you immediately to the right department to be able to make sure that that person does pick up on those people. So there really is nobody falling through the cracks when you plug in Stella as your service receptionist.
So what about multiple language ability? Like, let's say someone spoke Spanish, or they spoke Mandarin Cantonese, or they spoke French Canadian in our case,
Yes.
or another language. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
poutine. There's another word, but we will not use that. 'Cause
Yeah.
The disclaimer says we can't.
Well, you could take that one.
So right now she understands English and German.
Oh, okay.
And we're building her out. So this is where that AI component comes in. We are feeding back into it. And this is also where we have to listen to our dealers about what they need, right? So if you speak Spanish and you call and you need to speak with a service representative in Spanish, she can pick up that it's Spanish and she can transfer you to someone that can speak Spanish.
So there's still like, I need someone who's Spanish speaking or whatever that might be. I mean, in our market, we have a large Asian population, but also from Punjabi to other languages. So
I have to say, our platinum sponsor this year is Retail Resilient with our good friend Gail Rubenstein. And last month we were in Vegas for the Driving Sales Summit, and she did a TikTok event and showed everybody to do a TikTok. So I'm sitting there, and behind me was somebody who asked her a question. I didn't see this gentleman, but his accent and his words were hard to understand. And I turned around, it's a gentleman of Asian descent, and his store is in Tennessee. So he's got a very strong Chinese accent with a Chinese Tennessee accent, which I'd never heard before. And it's pretty dumb because the chances of getting that are awfully slim unless you're in Tennessee, that's somewhere there. What would happen there, do you think?
So most likely, depending on how hard it is to understand, then she would transfer to a representative. However, there's been calls that I listen to, and it's hard to understand for us. She's a computer, right? So she can pick that up.
Yeah.
And again, we're feeding that information back into her, and so then she's able to learn from that. And so my feeling is that she would be able to handle the call most likely. We would have to test it out. But we're taking those recordings and we're putting it back and saying this is how this should have been handled.
Sure. Can she remember people?
So actually, yes.
Yeah. Do you want to call her back and see?
Unforgettable.
Yeah, we might as well hear that because I don't know if you noticed this on my call initially. They didn't ask me who I was because I'm already a customer of theirs.
Okay.
However, let's find out if she remembered if I booked this appointment for Tuesday at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Thank you for calling the Bach Toyota Service Scheduling Center. This call may be recorded for quality assurance. I'm your digital assistant, Stella. Are you calling about your appointment on Tuesday, November 22nd at 3 p.m.?
Yes.
Do you want to confirm, cancel, or reschedule your appointment?
Cancel, please.
Do you want to cancel the appointment for Tuesday, November 22nd at 3 p.m.?
Yes, please.
She used your surfer voice.
I have successfully canceled your appointment.
40 seconds.
You answered the question I was going to ask you. How many appointments are no-shows at Bach Toyota because of you?
Oh,
let's talk about this.
This is Kate's baby. Go ahead, girl.
Okay, so one of the metrics that we measure in the service department is show rate, right? And I've started measuring another metric, and it's called an efficiency rate. So the show rate is the number of showed appointments over, right? Math.
Divided by.
Yeah, divided by the number of booked appointments, but taking out for cancellations. Okay. Dealers, they average, I have some dealers that are horrible, they're like 50%, but typically we want to see a show rate of 80%, and that's healthy, right? We would agree to that. Because it's so easy to not just book an appointment, but cancel the appointment, right? I can do that on the road. Not that I would ever text, drive, and do other multitasking of things, but so because it's so easy with Stella, we're seeing that her her show rate is about 95%. Now the other side of it is the efficiency rate, right? So what is the probability of that specific appointment that's booked as soon as Ron calls and he's sitting here in San Diego? What's the probability he's going to show up? And with dealers, that can vary on a lot of different stuff, but we're seeing it where I think it's like 67%, 70%. And again, so it's not accounting for cancellations. Hers are about 18% better than what the dealers are doing. So she can book the appointments and they're showing up in their service department more frequently.
Can this be overridden by individuals at the dealership?
How so? What do you mean by that?
Well, work the system. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Well, we had we had somebody on that's in the BDC side of
Yes.
the industry, and they're talking about how salespeople are re-entering the customer into the CRM to override the BDC. And, so therefore I thought to myself, can a service writer or a receptionist override Stella, or is Stella the intake call intake
She's
individual?
the first line of defense.
Stella's, yep. So Stella is the answering. Our technology does not use a puppet behind the scene.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, because so many people, one thing that
No puppet here.
No puppets.
that we talk about, or I've been talking about. I won't get Ian totally involved in this yet, but is a one dealership type of thing where everybody cares about the end result and everybody makes money because of the end result. Profitable service, profitable sales, profitable F&I, profitable parts, profitable lease company, whatever it may be, and where the fact that right now so many people are worried about somebody else looking better than them, and one person you can't compete with is AI.
Yeah, and we have this fear of our job's going to be taken over by computers.
Yes.
Right? That happened when my mom was learning how to boot on a computer. Right? And that's the immediate fear there. With ours, we still need that human touch. We need those BDC people. What I like doing is I like taking the nasty customers off their plate so that they can enjoy their job a little bit more.
Yes.
Right? And yeah, Stella's been called some explicit.
Expletive.
Yeah.
There we go.
Whatever.
Exploitive.
When it takes you 8 weeks to get an oil change, right? Why don't you just get mad at Stella first, right?
Absolutely.
But does Stella have any wonderfully programmed retorts in?
Ooh, we should. That would be fun.
Yo, mama.
I see. Here's how I think. I'm the kind of thank you so much. Just to remind you, your call's being recorded.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's and that's true. I could just imagine that, because our jobs in the car business are stressful. There's not only performance requirements, there's not only family and paying the bills, and then when you start getting somebody that's dealing with their own issues, because I firmly believe there's only a small portion of the population is genuinely mean.
Yeah.
Just crazy or mean?
Or you? No, they're genuinely mean. They're dealing with problems. They got
Absolutely.
a problem. Their car's this and that. My car didn't start. Oh my God, what's going to happen? I'm going to lose my job. I lose my job. I can't pay for my house. Can't pay for my house. I'm going to be out in the street. And if I'm out in the street, my family's going to leave me. And then I'm going to have to jump in front of a truck for life insurance I haven't paid for.
Yes.
So so that Stella can basically say, "I'm terribly sorry, sir. Let me help you."
Yeah, I mean, we joke and we'll say she works 24/7. So weekends, holidays, all of that good stuff. She can be laid up at night taking calls. She can wake up in the morning and still be that same bright-eyed, bushy-tail, happy-go-lucky voice.
So no plans for a horoscope line, like late night horoscope line?
We should come up with a profile.
A Jamaican voice or something?
Absolutely.
We're going back to the lab
Not
after
to say
this.
that's available.
What if she could start doing jingles during
Yeah.
Christmas? Right?
Oh,
Well, you could,
Hey.
I'm sure your PhD people could, happy, depending where, because we're trying to all be politically correct. Happy holidays. Thank you for calling Bach Toyota. I'm your digital assistant, Stella. How can I help you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's like those voices on phones where you can change the accent.
Siri's doing
So you
that
can-
now. Yeah. So Apple is starting to do that.
I had
think we'll
a
probably
change
get-
with my Siri.
Yeah.
And she was great, because I'd say, Siri, call Ian Nethercott. Calling Ian Nethercott. Just a moment, please.
So unlike the people from the IRS and Revenue Canada who are trying to masquerade as something else, it's actually a voice.
Yeah.
that does that,
Well, I don't know what you guys get down here, but at home we get a lot of calls saying, in Canada it's called Canada Revenue Agency. We don't have the
So,
IRS.
Oh,
This is the Canada Revenue Agency. You have a warrant out for your arrest. Please stay on the line.
I actually we
Please
get
bring gift
texted.
cards.
So we get texted from Jocelyn, our CEO.
We do get texted from her.
That's
Some
our
credit card
welcome.
info.
Welcome. So when we first come on, we get a nice welcome text. I need you to send me gift cards right now. I'm like, Jocelyn, I'm in a meeting with you. Why are you texting me under the table? This is awkward.
My name is Jocelyn. Did you notice that? It's Jocelyn. It's on the company. Read your shirt.
Jocelyn B.
You know, we're growing so fast that like we keep bringing new employees onto our team to help us with it. And every single time this happens, one of them's like, "Hey, should I go ahead and send her a credit card right now? I'm ready." So we let them think about it for a little bit right there to get before it moves forward. But it's yeah, it's every day, right? All those calls come into dealerships too, right? The extended warranty thing is pretty popular down here in the South, right? It's your extended warranty is about to expire.
Oh,
that
my
one,
gosh.
yes.
Have you seen those on TikTok?
You know?
Like
No.
there's somebody sitting there. I can't remember the one I saw on. There's somebody at the dinner table or something like that, and they pick it up and say, "Hello, your extended warranty is about to expire. Press 1 for more information."
Have you guys seen Miss News Lady?
I don't know.
Don't think
Okay,
so.
I would look her up. She'll take a spam call and she'll be like, "Yeah, here's my credit card. Okay, it's 3, 2, 1. You're live on News 1," and goes into it and immediately click.
Of course. Stepping outside of the Stella world, what are you seeing in the industry right now? If you were to give a short description of the state of the industry, what would you think it is today?
I think it's unknown. There's a lot of stuff that's happening. I mean, with interest rates being at the all-time high, we've seen a big shift in the length that people are holding onto their vehicles, right?
Yeah.
And that impacts a lot. It impacts the aftermarket revenue for new vehicles. And it's kind of getting back to that, trying to convince people that it's worth buying a car to spend 7% on or lease it for, and I think Jonathan Smoke talked about it yesterday, where you can't get a car for under a $400 payment now. So
Yeah.
those
subprime.
subprime, subcredit, like, it's rough. So I think it's going to be really interesting. I think there's a lot, whenever, there's that uncertainty and that like, oh my gosh, we're going into doomsday and Armageddon's going to be here. For me, what I see is just opportunity. Somebody is going to come out with some crazy new technology, like Stella, that is going to change the way that we do business in the automotive industry.
100%
excited.
agree.
Yeah, it's not the car business that it was when I started selling cars in Newport News, Virginia, right? I mean, people's values that work for dealerships are different than they were before, right? People want more time with their family, right? It's not so much the big commission that they're looking for at the time. There's other more valuable things for them. It's time with our family. COVID changed a lot of that, and I think a better way for people, right? And what their priorities truly were. And most of these people, like, they're not going to bend it for anybody right there. They're going to make sure they get the time to take, and they're going to enjoy it with them. So having that opportunity to truly just, I'm going home to see my daughter today, and I can't wait to go see her, right? Like, and I'm going to spend the next 10 days at home for it. And I'm not going to change it no matter what client wants to meet us, right? For the next 10 days. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we've got a show coming up in 2023, a generation show, and we're working on the guest list, but it'll be dealers or automotive related people, multi-generational, one, hopefully 2, maybe 3 generations. But when you mention about interest rates, you talk about 7% and the younger group, the one that don't know what that silly little thing in the middle of the car is that has the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on it, the manual transmission. They're going, "Oh no, 7%. Oh," and then you get old farts like me going, "Well, I got to tell you, I remember when I was doing deals for 19.9 and those are subvented rates. Stop complaining."
Yeah.
It is a big difference.
I mean, we were talking about mortgage rates, right? Like, mortgage rates, when my mom bought her first house, I think it's 16%.
Yep.
So we're okay. And I think we'll be okay. I think it's just, we have to be reactive, or actually, I think we have to think ahead of it as much as possible. But I think we'll be here.
Do the math.
Yeah, do the math.
Yep.
Do the math.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, you can even do it old school, like on
Yeah.
pen and paper. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Well, the only scary part is when you get people in a year from now that have this big truck payment at, 2%, and they got to lower their payment, but they owe way more money on their truck, and they go to a lesser vehicle at 7%, and their payment only goes down $50, even though it's $40,000.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Well, thanks very much for taking the time. And Jeff, any final thoughts?
It was a lot of fun talking to you. Thank you so much.
You.
We had never heard of Stella until we met Ron outside here the other day, and I'm glad you both joined us because we got a new friends of the AutoHub show. And please check
I have a new hat.
You got a new hat. You rock that hat. I want to tell you something.
You got a reason to go to Canada now. Right?
Exactly. Well, that's Vancouver, Canada, which is the San Diego of Canada.
And my brother's going to be up in Lake Louise in
very nice place.
I think next week.
Very cool. And where is he from?
We're from Vermont.
Yeah.
So
sort of cold, but different.
Sort of cold.
Yeah, I mean, you're
out the mountain range.
You were talking about the French speaking.
Oh,
yeah.
I skied in Vermont as a kid. I remember. I'm from Ontario. So
the thing is, in Vermont, what you call ski hill, what you call mountains,
is not.
We call parking lots.
Whistler Blackcomb. I don't know, 20,000. I think 20,000.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Goes up there.
Yeah.
And the thing about Lake Louise, it's got a couple of runs that are about 9 or 10 miles long.
Yep, sure does.
And when they talk double black diamond, they're not kidding.
Yeah. Well, you know what we have in the East? It's this thing called ice.
Yeah.
It's really, really great gripping. Yeah, solid.
Yeah,
it's solid.
Final comments from either one of you? By the way, Ron, that hat looks magnificent.
I appreciate it. It's the first hat I've worn this week. So there we go.
Well, there you go. See, I don't have to worry about hat heads. So.
One size fits all.
No, I think it was awesome that we got to connect. I mean, that's what we're here to do is connect with people.
Exactly.
And when you invite us on the show is an honor. Like, we're grateful for it.
No worries.
And we'd love to continue more conversation with you guys down the road and generational meetings, anything that y'all have. Just keep us involved. Right? We're happy to talk cars.
Rock and roll.
Thank you.
Check out the AutoHub show live every Monday at 8 o'clock West. That's 11 o'clock East. And have yourself a great day.
LinkedIn, YouTube Live, Zoom, or at your local podcast host. Bye-bye. In theory.
Tips.
Thanks for joining us. It was a great show, and follow us anywhere you would like on your favorite podcast, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and of course on our YouTube, or subscribe to our own channel.